I'll be honest, I've been dealing with like just a lot of things. I mean, I'm not just ranting here for my own sake. I think of some people who've ranted about this sort of stuff that I know there's some people that have some similar experiences and similar strange thoughts and things that weird things that they've had to deal with in their life. And I know how hard it feels to be alone in that and having those experiences and feeling like no one understands. You know, I mean, I look at things like I can't help it, but I've always, for a long time, I've seen this. I don't know, like when I grew up, I watched my dad get home from work, and my mom would get back from work, and I'd see them just become angry and screaming at each other about bills and all this crap, and I'd hear him go on and rant for hours and hours about how miserable it was in his job, how much he freaking hated it, and how much it sucked, and he's not the only person I hear that sort of stuff from, you know? And I see it. I've seen it with my own eyes, seen how so many people are so miserable doing some job that they hate, just trying to come up with money to survive. And I've watched people fall apart over years because of that, I see people all the time. They go through the day and I guess they find some kind of way, some sort of meaning, purpose in it somehow. I don't see how to go about it and go do that shit without having some greater purpose, some true meaning. I was able to glean some small meaning even from just going out and doing the DoorDash stuff. When the thing managed not to screw up, I felt at least I was out doing something. At least I was, and I was providing a service to people, bringing them their food and stuff like that. Something. But life now seems just too expensive, And the cost, what's demanded of people just to live, seems like too much, Just seems like too much. I don't know. I can't help but see this. I can't help but see that things seem pretty screwed up, and the way that most people are stuck living their lives is pretty screwed up, except for those lucky ones that have huge, huge amounts of money or whatever. Everyone else is left in a situation that's terrible. But I guess when they have some social support structure and they have real friends, or they have, a woman in their life, like some kind of love, some kind of decent relationship or something, a family to support, whatever the heck, then it gives you more of a why. Like why I'm doing this, why I'm selling myself short just to come up with just, for them or whatever, right? Hmm. I mean, like, if you're gonna sacrifice your time and your energy and your effort, the hope is that you're working towards some sort of a goal, that you would have some kind of reward in exchange for what it is that you're giving of yourself. You know what I mean? If you're giving a significant portion of your time and energy, then you should expect to be able to make enough to be able to have a home, to have some modicum of freedom and some respect, and you know, God forbid, actually, to be worthy of freaking love or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, to not be left alone, just working the day away for bits of paper that may become worthless, and then not even be able to have a home. It just feels like without meaning, without purpose. It's and I still don't have people around that really know what they're doing, that can help me and show me how to get things set up right, you know? Well, I mean, I can make, there's lots of examples I could make. I mean, I'm 39 years old. I have, you know, my dad's still around. He's did pretty well financially and so on. But neither him nor my mom nor anybody else in my family ever bothered to teach me anything about building a credit score. You know, how hard would that have been for them? How hard would it have been for them to even, I don't know, fudge some numbers or something and make it so I could more easily get into a place to live, you know? Would it have been so hard for my dad to, like a year ago when I had like 50 grand in the bank, would it have been so hard for him to co-sign an apartment or something? Because if he had done that or something, I would have had a place to live the whole time. And I'd probably still have half the money or more than half the money. If I could have just got an apartment freaking day one, even if I had to pay $1,200 or more a month, you know, I had enough money to where I could have, if I hadn't been getting pissed away on ridiculously overpriced motel rooms and all these other bills that I incurred only because of the fact that I don't have a fucking home, I don't have a kitchen to cook my food, and I don't have, you know, it would have been easier for me to get a job and hold one if I had a home. It would have been easier for me to make money last, like, make what money I did have last for several years, you know, and build up some long rental history that would have been fine, that would have helped me to get into a better place in the future, you know, or whatever, right? But I didn't have anyone there to back me up and fucking help me or teach me any of this shit, or even have my back. He just didn't say, get a job, get a job, get a job. But tried to talk to him about how to get some sort of education or some sort of credentials so that I could actually get a job that pays a decent living wage. Well, he doesn't even want to talk about that. He gets mad at me if I even think about talking about finding a way to get a job that actually pays a living wage. He wants me to just bust my ass for shit money forever or whatever, and thinks that, somehow some great magical luck is going to fall out of the sky and make it so I can afford to have a decent life like he did. But the prices are going up, the pay is too low, I don't want to have to break my bones and break my back to freaking make shit money and not even have a place to live, you know what I mean? Especially when, realistically speaking, my parents probably could have got me on SSI or disability back when I was still a teenager, They certainly could have helped me, I didn't really learn any useful life skills from anyone, you know what I mean? And then if my dad talks like he wants to teach me some life skills, he doesn't really seem to know what the hell he's talking about, honestly. Because in reality, it seems like he just kind of lucked into shit, And his expertise basically, up until the point where he started lucking into more stuff, would have just been that he probably would have, most of his life he busted his ass working for shit money, basically. But he also had a support structure, family and friends, and back him up. And he had a wife, and my mom had her own business. The beautician had her own beauty shop and stuff. I know he helped set that up together, but just it's hard to figure. I know there's people that do things that way that there's all kinds of freaking types of jobs and stuff, man. If I could figure out how to get into a job where, get some training or something and get to where I could be good at selling cars or something, I would probably make more money selling cars in a freaking used car lot than he freaking did with the busting his ass constantly, Or if I could just learn how to, I don't know if I can get a insurance or a real estate license or something and get into that and learn how to do it right. I could probably make more money than he did. I don't know. But I don't know, man. I feel like the whole money situation, especially the type of fiat currency we have, is a total screw job. You know? Everything about it is a total screw job. We're being robbed blind. Every fucking penny you make working your whole fucking life just ends up gone. Basically. You're not able to really provide any kind of future for your children the way this world is set up now. It's a trap to keep people enslaved and keep families enslaved forever and ever, basically. While the old world, old money is able to keep getting wealthier and wealthier forever and ever. you and your children and your children's children and your children's children's children are supposed to just bust their ass their entire lives for shit money and have nothing to teach or pass on to their children so that they can ever, get ahead. People just fall behind or they end up stuck in shit jobs that nobody wants to be in. Hell, when I was younger, like, I talked about wanting to go to college. I signed up for FOFSA and Pell Grant, and I go to the freaking, and my dad was, like, arguing with me the whole time. No, you just need to get a job. You just need to get a job. Trying to make me feel like an idiot and feel like shit or whatever, and lecturing me and bitching at me. Threatening me, and, every other damn thing. Every time I tried to do anything for myself, when I had an idea for how to... I don't know, man. I feel like I could have been... If I'd just been born into a different family, maybe more supportive family structure and stuff around, I feel like I could have been a doctor. I could have been a lawyer. I could have been an archaeologist or paleontologist. Could have been a psychiatrist, or a psychologist, or a social engineer, or any number of freaking... I could have been a freaking commissioned officer in the military or something. Like, there's all kinds of shit that I could have been if I'd just been born into a different station, to a different family, basically. And had more constructive, helpful people around me and stuff. I hate to blame others. Hell, I know I screw up. For times when I screw up and drinking and stuff, I can blame myself, but I mean... Some people can... I don't know, I do. I kind of blame my parents for fucking screwing up in my life to some extent. And I guess I blame myself, kind of, but I'm kind of pissed off at the system and, like, everything, because I feel like the help that's out there is fake for anyone that's not a kid. And even the help for a kid is maybe not that helpful. I don't know. I mean, shit, I was getting high as a kite when I was 16. For years, I was high as a kite around my mom, around my dad, all them. Did they ever once try to get me into rehab or, try to get me, move away from the bad influences that we were living around? No. Hell, my mom tried more than my dad did. I remember she actually brought me to a college career day thing or something one time, trying to see what I was interested in, what courses. Of course, I was high as a fucking kite at the time, so it wasn't really the best timing, was stoned out of my mind, standing there in the freaking college going, "Whoa, dude. I have no idea where I am, man. Don't forget to bring a towel." Basically, yeah. I don't know. Shit. I'm not really quite sure what the hell to do now, you know? I've thought about trying to go to rehab or something, but I don't even think I have that terrible of a drinking problem. I mean, I think it's something I might even be able to beat on my own if I was just in a different environment. If I was just somewhere else around, you know, less nasty, abusive types of people, and fucking, I could, like, I don't know. If everything wasn't so crazy all the time, stressing me the hell out, it'd be a lot easier. Plus, I feel like the only types of rehab that have any sort of success rate whatsoever are ones that you can only afford if you're rich, you know? Kind of like you kind of have to be either rich or living out in the country with a big garden, which kind of requires you to be rich too. If you hope to be able to, like, truly eat healthy, you gotta have, like, a fridge and a freezer and a stove and an oven to cook on and prepare your own food instead of buying all this processed chemical laden shit and ended up stuck eating GMOs and who knows what other kind of crap, you know? I mean, even when I get bread, man, I swear. I mean, I like that the bread doesn't get all moldy so quickly as it used to, but I've had loaves of bread and things like hamburger buns that have lasted in a bag for like months. Like, that would be impossible if it was really bread. I don't know what the heck it is that I'm eating, but I don't think it's really bread because real bread would mold real quickly, you know? That's just one example of the kind of fake food, you know? How, like, the food that I mean, you gotta be kind of somewhat healthy or whatever. You can't just eat toxins and chemicals and poison and fucking expect yourself to be healthy and physically and mentally, you know, functional to be able to get your shit together very well. I mean, and also there's things that motivate a person, right? Like, you know, having a woman you love is a motivator. Having, you know, believing that you can have a home if you just work hard for it is a motivator. But I don't believe that. I don't believe that that is something that's going to happen just by going out and getting some kind of freaking job, doing some shit job. I don't think that that would work for me. And I don't have any fucking, like, guidance. Trying to do shit now when I'm, like, fucking almost 40 years old. I got nobody to fucking show me how to do shit or what to do to even get your shit together properly. The only people that, you know, that I have to ask are these people that are I would consider them to be unsuccessful in reality. I mean, or the ones that are successful in large part just due to freaking dumb luck, basically. Not because they did the right things to get some kind of, career or something. I mean, I don't know. I don't mean to be a dick or to sound pompous by saying this sort of stuff, and I don't mean I don't disrespect these people. I'm just saying, like, I see that a vast portion of the population is wasting away in kind of like shit jobs and like barely above shit jobs. And there's people that manage to get where they're at, but they worked hard, they had some terrible job or whatever their whole life, and they worked their way up to having something. But that was when things were a lot less expensive. And that was with a support, that was with family and, wife and so on. They weren't by themselves doing that shit. Most people weren't. They had more of a reason to get up in the morning, basically, is what I'm saying, I guess. Kind of how I feel. More reason to get going. Someone around showing them fucking love and respect and support. Someone to bounce ideas off of and oh man. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I feel like I didn't really learn much of anything in fucking grades. I mean, not that much in grade school. In high school and everything. It just felt like a complete waste of my time. And when you get out of there, they teach you stupid bullshit, basically, just to keep you busy like some glorified babysitting session. And then they just kind of drop you off on the street and say, go get a job. Whereas you got parents and a bunch of family members that are just like working down at the mill or flipping hamburgers or working at the fucking grocery store. You got no one to like educate you on building a credit score or rental history or getting a fucking education that can actually get you into a decent fucking career or something, you know what I mean? Or some sort of licensing or something, I mean, I've even thought of going into like, I don't even know if I could now. But I was going to say I've even thought about being a barber or something, I doubt it would be that high paying of a job, but it would be not. There's worse things you could be, That's what my mom did, and my sister went to Fagans or something too. I've seen other people cut hair a lot, and I learned how to cut my own hair. That's the only reason I thought about that. I don't know. I feel like the monetary system is basically collapsing. The inflation is going through the roof way too high. And it looks to me like the future is essentially hopeless. And I don't see how that could change unless I somehow won the lottery. Or even if I did win the lottery, it would be fucking rough, probably. Even if I won the lottery, like right now, and I could soon, like, move away and buy a house and blah, 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 right? The inflation is still going to be continuing probably to go through the roof. The monetary system is still collapsing. So that would certainly buy me some time and get me set up somewhere, but I don't know. You know? I don't know, man. As quickly as things are going crazy in this country, like I think there might be a whole lot of people that are sitting around pretending like everything's fine right now that might find out real soon in a short matter of years or something that they're losing their house now and they can't afford to live either, you know? Because too many people have sat idly by and ignored all the crazy shit going on in the world and expect some politician to come along and rescue us. And I don't see that being likely to happen. I don't know, I'd like to just get I just wish I had like a farm or something, you know? I mean, obviously, I'd like to have running water and stuff on a farm because plants like water, you know? So do animals. So do I, you know? But it'd be nice to be off the grid and just use like 12-volt power or something. Because honestly, I look at the way this world is set up and the way things are going. I don't think there's a future here, man. I don't think there's a future in any of this shit. There'd probably be more of a future in learning how to shoe horses or something than there would in, you know, learning computer programming or whatever, right? I don't know. I don't know. More of a future in having a piece of land and stocking up years worth of canned food or something than there would be in getting a farm started than there would be in stacking a bunch of dollar bills in your bank account. More of a future in getting as far away from the city as possible than there is in sitting around stuck in it. I don't know, man. Shit, man. I don't know, man. Honestly, I look at the trying to come up with some kind of analogy here for like how I see the world here. how unnatural the world seems to me, right? Well, imagine if you were born into a world where everyone walked on their hands, like did handstands and stuff like that instead of using their feet to walk. And you were born walking on your feet, learning how to walk on your feet, and then everybody treats you like you're crazy and there's something seriously wrong with you for walking on your feet. Or something, you know, kind of like that. I don't know. It's just, I guess it's kind of a shitty analogy. I just feel like the way most people are living our lives here, like we're being, nobody's showing us how to do things the right way, and we're just being taught like animals or something to just go figure it out, you know. I forgot what this was. I forgot I had nougat in it or whatever. A Heath bar. Really haven't had one of these in a long time. I can't even remember what it was. It's like some kind of peanut brittle in there or something. It's stuck to my teeth. So yeah, I mean, it just seems messed up. Seems like the way that we're taught to live our, like we're not taught anything useful. And I mean, we're not even taught how to live, how to very well how to fit in a modern world to be like basically worker bee slaves. Not really. We're just kind of sent to these schools that are like glorified babysitting, where we're sent to be kind of indoctrinated and taught to live like a prisoner or something, but follow the lines on the floor, punch on the time clock, and blah, 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 you know, right? And then you get older and they just say, go get a job, you know? And the kids who have like well-to-do, intelligent parents teach their kids more things that the school doesn't teach them. Probably gets them into college at least, or teaches them how to build a credit score so that by the time they're in their late teens or early 20s, they've already built up a credit score. Fake some kind of rental history at the house so they can build up a rental history for them. And then by the time they're 18 or 19, they can move out of the house and rent any place they want to with a minimum wage job or something. At least that's the way it used to be. But, you know, as they're like getting some kind of training in school to get some job that pays $40 an hour or more, you know. Shit, there's people not even, probably not much more than half my age right now that are probably like, you know, PhDs or something that got, you know, working as psychologists and social engineers or officers or some kind of, you know, management position or something somewhere. Whether teachers at some school or whatever. Or they've got some job, computer programming or something. There'd be people that actually taught them things and freaking had connections in their family and stuff like that. They're able to get them into decent. Or I don't know, even if someone just taught you to hustle properly, man, that would be another thing. I'm trying to, figure out more. I mean, it would have been nice if I at least had parents or someone in my family that actually taught me to freaking hustle right. Like they didn't even know how to hustle right. You know? Like I wish that I at least had like some uncle or something or somebody like that would have taught me, like, I don't know, taught me how to be really good at darts or how to hustle pool or how to be a great bowler so I could make bets in bowling games or how to count cards or some shit, something that would have been freaking useful that actually would have kept me off the streets and shit, something. Kept me out of the freaking poorhouse or whatever. I don't know. Or taught me sales or something. Person get good at sales, man, the sky's the limit. If somebody knows how to do that, how to get it done right, and people that taught their kids some things about sales, their kid ends up making a bunch of money selling candy bars to kids at school or something, or whatever. Before you know, they've got a lawn care business or some other shit going on. Their parents are helping set them up on. I remember years back I had to do work crew for like a week. For, I don't remember what it was, a few days or a week or something. For some shit from years ago. Basically, it's just another setup or whatever. Anyways, there was this 18-year-old kid or something there. 18 or 19-year-old kid that was on the work crew. Really obnoxious little shit too, man. But his parents had already made him like a manager of an apartment complex. He was on work crew because he slept with some freaking 12-year-old girl or something like that. Some messed up shit like that. Kid's like 18 or 19 years old. Total jerk to everyone. Manager of an apartment complex. Ain't that nice? Right? Or other kids wake up with parents or grandparents or something that know about real estate investing. And the kid learns about real estate, house flipping and stuff like that. And they end up just with a amazing fucking career starting right out. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I am kind of freaking blaming other people somewhat. I am kind of jealous of a lot of these people that just had fucking shit handed to them, basically, straight off the bat. Or they had people that, had a supportive family and stuff that taught them and I don't know, I feel like it feels like it's too late to get my shit together right, I don't know. Just like, kind of. I remember when I was like in my early 20s, I was at my dad's house. He had this, big 2-story house in a nice neighborhood there. And somebody stopped by, they said, "Oh, is this your house?" Asked me what I did for a living and stuff. And I realized that there were dudes in their early 20s that had big fancy jobs and some kind of career computer programming, or they got set up in some kind of big business or something, and by the time they're in their early 20s, they already do have some big 2-story house in a fancy neighborhood. You know? If I would have got started early on and been sober my teenage years and had some support and some freaking, somebody to help me figure out how to do things, how to live in this world, and, maybe got me some sort of education, then yeah, I probably could have been freaking like some computer programmer. I mean, I was always teaching my dad how to use a computer and fixing the computer for him and stuff, back when he was mostly computer illiterate and stuff, And now he's retired from working as IS-8, as a mainframe computer programmer that was programming in freaking COBOL and Perl and all this shit, making like big 6-figure salary or something. I taught him how to use a freaking computer, If I could have got the same training that he got, I could have been doing his job in my early freaking 20s or something. Basically. Yeah. He could have ended up working for me as like the manager or something. Right? That's how different things could have been, And the people don't offer any help, man. One of the things I said to my dad funny or offer that didn't even really seem real because it didn't seem like he even wanted me there. Like he really even cared that much, you know, about what happens to me. Seems more like he's fooling himself into thinking that he cared about me without ever actually having to do it, you know? Yeah. But it's like, one of the things I said to him when he talked about getting me to move down there is I said, I need some time, you know, I need some time to deal with my mom, the loss of my mom, and the grieving process, and to get myself healthy, and maybe get into a rehab facility or something. And then I talked to him about, because he knows about carpentry and made some nice tables and chairs and stuff like that. I wanted to learn how to do that so I could try to make, you know, some kind of business out of it while I do that, you know, something that seems natural. And he's good at carpentry. He could have taught me that pretty easily and had the tools available there and everything. Now he's interested in it. We talked about rehab and getting myself back in shape and dealing with the grieving process and all of it. All any of that ever even did for him was just make him mad at me. You just need to get a fucking job. You lazy trying to make excuses for yourself. Get a job. You know? I feel so fucking stressed out. I feel like I'm metaphorically bleeding to death. And everybody just steps over me. And I don't even feel like I can be honest and tell people about what I'm going through because they just treat me like I'm fucking, it's all in my head or something when it's not, you know? Imagine someone, you know, like a healer, a shaman in a Native American tribe, or in some place in Nepal or the Andes Mountains or something. One of the most revered and respected people in the entire village, who people go to receive healing and help and guidance, wisdom. Imagine how the modern world in this place would treat them. I don't know, I'm just saying, like, especially if you have weird spiritual experiences and things like that in this world, man. They just treat you like you're nuts or like none of it's real, gaslight the fuck out of you. Whereas over in some place like that, there'd be someone there to help you and guide you and teach you how to deal with it, you know? That's another thing that's like an issue. Is that I've had all kinds of weird, strange spiritual experiences that when I try to look up this sort of stuff on YouTube or anything else, mostly people that sound like they understand the shit or people that went and dealt with shamans or whatever. Call it a shamanic awakening or whatever. Like, that's the kind of shit that I've gone through, basically, in a lot of ways, and it's just making my life a living fucking hell, basically. Shit. don't know, man. Other stuff about this modern world just seems so freaking foreign and wrong and messed up to me that it's like I'm in just a horrible nightmare. In part, I feel like maybe I'm like an old soul or something, like, but I'm also, I feel like I'm out of touch and haven't been able to really find my life's purpose. And something like having purpose and meaning and helping is something that I care more about than anything. Like, I don't want to just go make money for the sake of making money. I mean, I do and I don't. It's like, I want to give me a real payday, make it so the concept of money doesn't even exist anymore on the face of the earth. That'd be pay enough for me, right? I don't know, man. I don't know, there's a nice documentary you ought to see if you haven't seen it. It's kind of a cartoon, but it's an educational cartoon. It's called The American Dream. hmm Check that out if you haven't seen it. We check out a book called Creature from Jekyll Island. Right there's, I mean, basically the financial system has crashed and it's screwed up, and people aren't seeing how bad. Like, somehow most people are not even seeming to notice how bad it is now, or not willing to acknowledge how bad it is. And it's like, well, I mean, you could buy like 100 years ago, you could buy basically like a 10 or 12 bedroom luxurious mansion with big tall columns and stuff for like less than $5,000. You know, there is this old over 100-year-old house that stayed in for a little while, a few months. So whoever owned the place was renting out 14 different rooms, getting $700 or $800 a pop for each room or more. Had people sharing a bathroom. There's all kinds of big spiders in it. The point I was getting at though is that place, when it was brand new, was likely about $500 to buy the house brand new, to have it built there on the lot or whatever. That's about what it would have cost 100 or so years ago when it was built. So within the lifetime of some of our people, some of your grandparents that may still be alive even. The cost of a house basically went up like 1,000 times or more. That's how big of a difference it is. Like the house that you could have got for $500 back 100 and some years ago would go for about probably 500 or 600 thousand now, and the house that you could have got for 5,000 back in those days would probably be about $5 million or something nowadays. Mm-hmm. That's where we're at financially speaking, and it's actually even worse than that in some ways, because when you realize that the value of money didn't go downhill that much between like all the way from like the early 1900s through, and even like late 1800s, early 1900s, from there all the way up until about like that was like the 70s or 80s or something, the money still maintained most of its value. So you could still get houses pretty dang cheap. I mean, the amount of inflation at that point was nothing compared to where it is now. Like, not even remotely close to where it is now. Oh, all right.